people just don't trust him. You know, Dan, the issue is that the Chinese will not make good on any of their promises, no matter what they sign on to.
Yeah, and that certainly casts a shadow on where we're going with this phase one deal. And I also want to bring out how incredible it is in terms of the stock market and our relationship with China, specifically on this trade deal. We were on the brink of a military conflict with Iran, right? And the market had a very slight blip and then bang, wanting to go up more and more and more. But anytime we get
it would have been that if it didn't turn out the way it did.
And you know what else was incredible about it was during that period of time we saw gold dropping and oil dropping, which I certainly didn't expect with a potential military conflict. But the market extraordinarily sensitive to whatever happens with China. Now, I think once we get past phase one and we're on to phase two, I think the market will become extremely sensitive once again as to where we're going to go. You know, Bernie Sanders is a different kind of candidate than we've seen before in terms of how far left he's taken the Democratic Party. I would not count Bernie Sanders out. You know, it was a strange thing, right, that a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters back in the last election actually moved to Donald Trump as opposed to staying in line with Hillary Clinton. Right. So there's a dynamic here with Bernie Sanders that can't be discounted, Neil.
And to your point about, you know, how do Democrats sort of talk about the economy and talk about trade? I mean, we have record numbers of bankruptcies with small farms. We have, since 2011, we have overall records as it relates to farm debt. We're about $400 billion. So these tariffs did a huge amount of harm on a micro and a macro level. And in some respects, we're back where we were if these tariffs had not been in place 2 years earlier.
You're still fighting a macro trend that's in the president's favor, right? Whether you like the president or not.
No, sure. He's a deal maker and he's making deals.
You know, you could talk about, the quality of jobs isn't this, and the individual and small businesses that have been hurt. That's a tough sell in the aggregate, isn't it?
No, and again, in some ways, if you rip something up and then you sort of remake it 2 years later on the eve of an election, whatever sort of happens, he's very good at messaging and creating a victory. Even though if we look at the numbers, we could have avoided this without the tariffs, and if China doesn't play ball. And I think you talk about.
Doesn't agree.
I mean, you talk about farmers, you talk about bankruptcy, you talk about the human cost of this.
I don't think it's a winning argument, Danielle, for the Democrats to fight Trump on the economy. I'm not disagreeing with everything that you're saying related to, you know, could we have gotten to this place 2 years ago that we are in phase one? Perhaps, but I still don't think that is going to swing the election. I have no doubt that Donald Trump is going to trumpet this as a win related to China. Phase two won't happen until after the election. Right. So for him, it's...
I mean, that's that alone. All right. Thank you very, very much. In the meantime, Michael Bloomberg is willing to spend upwards of $1 billion to defeat President Trump. It's a rounding error, like Dan Geltrude type money. But he's willing to do it. What does Carl Rove think of that after this?